It's Wednesday, February the 8th, 2017, and this is your Barbados Today afternoon update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news at this hour, a local professional engineer is calling for an increase in water rates in Barbados. Andrew Hutchinson says drinking water in Barbados is too cheap, which is leading to wastage by householders and businesses. Addressing a meeting of the Rotary Club West at the Bagatelle Great House last night, the UK chartered engineer said that potable water costs less than half a cent per litre.
Water in Barbados is still very, very cheap. The commercial rate is 0.446 of a cent per litre. Many of you go and buy the litre cartons in Pine Hill Dairy from the supermarket. A litre, remember what a litre is? Yeah? Well, a litre of water is 0.466 cents, less than half a cent per litre. All right, remember that number. And then we're selling water to these ships at 0.8 cents per litre. And then there's a lot can be done with water toilets. There's about 5 million gallons a day is being used every day to flush toilets in Barbados. And most of the toilets are inefficient, the flushing mechanisms. But we don't seem to worry, we just pay. Why? Because the water is so cheap, you can just pay and not worry about it.
Barbados has launched a new and unique experience to its tourism product offerings that's aimed at boosting visitor arrivals. The sugar and rum product, which tells the story of these two historic Bajan brands, was presented to the public during a ceremony at Sunbury Great House in St. Philip last night by the Barbados Tourism Product Authority. A passionate chief executive officer of the authority, Dr. Kerry Hall, told her audience that Barbadians need to celebrate their sugar and rum.
So because of the sugar and rum, Barbados became the British jewel in the British crown. The British Navy was headquartered here in Barbados to defend this island tooth and nail. The UNESCO World Heritage Site tells the story of trade and commerce and sugar and rum and everything else. So the fact that we actually achieved that magnanimous designation also is testimony, and we have not capitalized upon it. But hopefully now, by bringing sugar and rum center stage, we'll be able to do that, because we have a greater understanding of its importance. So, as we can see, sugar and rum played a phenomenal role in the development of Barbados, to be one of the foremost small island developing states 300 odd years later. But to tell the story of Barbados is to tell the whole story. And I'm talking about telling the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we cannot tell the story of sugar and rum unless we tell the story of slavery. This great wealth that accumulated on this island would not be possible without the blood, sweat, and tears of free labor of our enslaved parents. And we owe it to our ancestors to tell their story in order to honor their memory. So this will also be weaved into the fabric of this entire story of sugar and rum that we will be telling to you, to our nation, and to the world.
In sport, ICC Americas registered their first win since entering the regional Super 50 competition in 2016, beating combined campuses and colleges by 72 runs on the Duckworth-Lewis method at Wynwood Park. It ended a streak of 10 losses, 5 matches in 2016 and their first 5 matches in 2017 for the squad comprised of Bermuda, Canada, and US players.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Get your paper, get your paper. Only $2.25, $2.20. Who? For what? That's the Bear Stare News. I don't read about that from Barbados Today since last night. That can't only can't do. $2.20. Who?
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
We're back with news from the region now. The Attorney General in Trinidad and Tobago contends that the poor management of the police service is making it difficult to crack down on crime. And he's convinced the number of police officers in the service is not the problem. Faris Al-Rawi told reporters the solution won't come overnight.
I don't think that Mr. Williams is not doing his best at present. What I can tell you is that I certainly view that the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service needs a significant overhaul, and it has to be better managed in terms of its processes.
Don't blame the individual, blame the system. The Attorney General believes Stephen Williams is just the latest in a line of police commissioners stuck in a system that does not work.
We have 6,000 policemen on full-time operation. We have 2,000 SRPs in a population of 1.3 million. We have spent $21.8 billion in 10 years. That is by far more resources and manpower than most other countries around the world. The question, if you have all of that resource and spent all of that money, is why wasn't it working? It comes back down to management.
Mr. Al-Rawi predicts the ongoing manpower audit of the police service will show numbers are not the problem. It's the way they are used, he believes, which renders them inefficient.
In more regional news now, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has warned the government of St. Lucia to set a debt reduction target and rapidly implement its reform agenda amid rising public debt. However, the debt reduction warnings of a recent IMF mission were tempered with some positive news.
Following its 2-week Castries mission, an IMF team has concluded that the short-term outlook for St. Lucia is mildly positive but presents some risks. A few items contribute to that mildly positive prognosis. They include falling unemployment in 2016, a program of economic reforms expected to be outlined in the forthcoming budget, and a credible medium-term fiscal consolidation plan. According to the report, moderate growth is expected in 2017 based on continued strong performance in construction and agriculture. Prime Minister and Minister for Finance Alan Chasney says his administration plans to build on this foundation.
There is risk in everything that you take, and I think that the IMF report was very clear in stating that as well. We're looking to reduce taxes in order to improve competitiveness and, depending on the economy, to grow. If in fact that we do that and we don't see the growth, it creates a wider gap, and that could potentially erode the base for St. Lucia.
On the international scene, President Donald Trump harshly criticized arguments against his temporary travel ban today, discounting a legal challenge to the order as anti-security and lambasting the federal judicial system that's weighing it as overly political. Seeking to lend his own legal argument for the order banning travel from certain Muslim-majority countries, Trump insisted that U.S. presidents have wide authority to determine who may enter the United States.
It was done for the security of our nation, the security of our citizens, so that people come in who aren't going to do us harm. And that's why it was done. And it couldn't have been written any more precisely. It's not like, oh, gee, we wish it were written better. It was written beautifully.
Meanwhile, 3 U.S. federal judges grilled the lawyers from the Justice Department and the Washington State late last night as they considered whether to lift a U.S.-wide block on President Donald Trump's travel ban. The appeals court judges sparred with attorneys over the president's use of sweeping executive power, questioned the connection between the 7 affected countries and terrorism, and launched into tough questions over whether the ban discriminated against Muslims.
3 federal judges of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals grilling lawyers from the Justice Department and Washington State in a hearing by phone Tuesday night. Both sides fighting back skepticism from the court.
Either you have the evidence presented in the record or you don't.
The Justice Department attorney August Flingy arguing President Trump has the legal authority to impose a travel ban without court review, citing national security.
Are you arguing then that the president's decision in that regard is unreviewable?
Yes.
Judge William can be pushing back on Flingy's logic.
Could the president simply say in the order, we're not going to let any Muslims in?
That's not what the order does here.
Could he do that? Could he do that?
That's not what the order does.
Would anybody be able to challenge that?
That's not what the order does here.
Flingy acknowledging his argument might not be working.
I'm not sure I'm convincing the courts.
Judge Richard Clifton questioning Washington State's claim shows a direct intent to discriminate against Muslims.
And that's news and sports, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. Also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We are also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, our screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Channel 99 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.